All right. This is going to be an interesting little video for me. I'm going to be talking about why I've been gone and why there will be periods where I'll post a lot of stuff at over a course of weeks to months, and then there'll be times where I just don't post anything. I wanted to talk about it because it's fair to you guys, and honestly, I kind of want to just explain myself a little bit. I like making content and I like talking about, shows and anime and games that I love or just had a very strong opinion on, like Dungeon Meshi or One Piece. But I think I kind of got into a weird mindset with making content. Now, I know it's not my job to make content. I don't get paid to make anything or get ad revenue from anything or anything like it. But I recently watched this video by Neat on the Rocks called "You Should Be a YouTuber" or Artist Creator, where he talked about the importance of having a creative outlet in order to explore your creative side. He had this comment that really resonated with me about making content you want to make, things you are passionate about or creatively excited about, and not letting the idea or expectation of monetization influence how you create your art. When I was making videos, I hit a point where I was just counting views and subs that I gained. When a video wasn't doing better than the last one, I felt like such a failure, and it made me feel worried and anxious about if I'll lose people if I don't do something like Dungeon Meshi videos again. I suffered pretty quickly after that with what I felt was creative burnout, because it stopped being a fun creative hobby and more like me expecting to do better and better every time I made something. I hated feeling like that, and it was all because I felt like I had to feel like that in order to succeed. Instead of enjoying making content at my own pace, I tried super hard for months to release something every week, even when I wasn't 100% sure of the video idea. It was around this time, though, that I started putting some pieces together about myself that I think helped me better understand my own creative process and my own emotional processing. For a little bit of background about me, I've been diagnosed with GAD, or Generalized Anxiety Disorder, since about 2017, but I've always been pretty anxious compared to everyone else in my life. I've had a habit, especially, of taking little things or little health things and blowing them up so badly in my head that I truly believed I was going to die. There would be times I would have panic attacks that would truly not settle until days to weeks later. My brain, despite obviously wanting the opposite of what I was doing, was training itself to see threats and potential catastrophes as very real and scary, despite some things just being normal and harmless. After going to therapy and better understanding how things play out in my brain, I saw that I was doing this with everything. Friendships, relationships, interactions online and offline. I was scared of everything because I could see a path to danger or harm anywhere. It almost became like an obsession to always look for the negative or danger in a situation because then I felt like I was ahead of it. At first, I thought this was the reason behind why I was feeling burnt out. That it was just because I was scared of failing and seeing the potential dangers of failing. I figured the best way forward would be then to force myself through the fear and just keep working as hard as I can, and eventually I would be fine and see that everything would work out. But I was wrong about that. This next part of myself that I'm going to talk about is more recent and personal, so I hope I can talk about it comfortably, but if I can't, I hope you can understand and give me some grace. Recently, I had the means and opportunity to pursue some testing to see if I was on the autism spectrum, and after said testing, they talked with me and told me that, yes, I am autistic. Now, this didn't come off as a huge surprise to me because for at least 6 to 7 years now, after a lot of reading and researching about autism, I kind of figured I was on, or at least, some part of the spectrum. I only had the means to pursue it within the last year or so I felt like this was important to me because I wanted to learn more about myself. After learning about this, I started really reflecting about me as a person, my past, my actions, my thoughts and feelings, all of it started being looked at in a new light. I saw how much I loved making videos and how intense I got with not only making good content, but content that I wanted other people to like, even if it meant I wasn't doing things I wasn't fully passionate about. I was so deep and entranced by this way of thinking, I didn't notice that I wasn't taking care of myself fully. I was sacrificing the happiness of creating something I like for the idea of numbers going up instead. of making concessions to my videos because I saw more engagement instead of just wanting to make my videos how I wanted to make them. Over time, that constant pushing and trying to meet these expectations I created in my head wore me down. It got to a point where I hated myself for not doing enough or feeling like I was failing in some way. I didn't have words for it at the time, even though I had this experience before. I just recognized that I was feeling scared and frustrated every time I wanted to make something. Now that I had this new perspective to view myself with, I realized that feeling was actually autistic burnout. It wasn't just about being tired or unmotivated. It was a deep emotional and physical shutdown that stuck to me like a facehugger from Aliens. It's not uncommon for autistic people to have these difficulties and shutdowns if they spend too much time masking their own feelings and behaviors. It's like winding yourself up tighter and tighter, but never being able to fully lose that tension inside of you, because there's always something in you holding back or onto that tension because you feel like you can't just let go of it yet. By the time I really noticed it, it's already to a point where I'm just feeling so drained and dead inside that I can't focus. I couldn't create. I couldn't talk about things that I loved. I couldn't force myself to do it because, flat out, I just couldn't. With this new perspective about my diagnosis and using my previous skills gained from therapy, I started really trying to understand how I was feeling, what's good for me, and what I needed to do to feel better and more whole. I'm learning now that rest isn't optional. It's necessary. And if I want to keep making things that I love, I have to pace myself and give myself space to breathe and to let go of this idea that I owe constant output to be valuable in order to be art. I mentioned Need on the Rocks video earlier, but something else caught my eye when I was scrolling through YouTube recently. I found this very small channel with next to no views, but it was these two boys who were playing Mario Party and these Yu-Gi-Oh! Nintendo DS games with a phone recording the screen of, the TV and the DS respectively. The audio was rough and the video was shaky, but they were just goofing around and laughing. And it actually made me laugh too, because I felt how happy they were just making a video with someone they cared about while playing a fun game together. And I truly thought to myself that this was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch two friends just joke, play games, and make a video that isn't as produced as many other big channels. I remember being around when YouTube started getting off the ground and becoming more mainstream. I remember the phone and camera recordings of people that were honestly terrible. They were objectively terrible quality, but it didn't matter. The content was genuine and goofy and fun. The two videos in my head that come to mind when I think of great older videos are the Numa Numa guy and the Sora versus Roxas in the mall parking lot video. It was just a group of dudes who just loved what they were doing and made something silly. These videos have never left my memory, and I think about them so often because they were genuinely really good videos to make. It's because of all of these things that I started really deciding to myself to just be honest and genuine when I want to make something creative. I had to feel this bad before learning more about myself and understanding what I need to create something meaningful to me. I had to be searching for videos about how to be a YouTuber to find Need on the Rocks video about creating art against the expectations of having that art be monetizable. I had to find these two boys just playing Mario Party with a phone recording the TV to remind myself the true beauty of just making a video and having fun. I want to be more genuine. I want to be creative. And I want to make sure I can stay in love with what I do for fun. But in order to do that, I wanted to be as honest with anybody who has watched me or has seen the handful of videos I've made before and liked them enough to sub to me. When I have disappeared, it was because of my own creative and emotional burnout as an autistic person that I completely disregarded and never even attempted to facilitate before because I just never understood it. Now, after truly learning more about myself and the expectations I put on myself while making videos, I realize a better way of dealing with it while also giving me that creative output I desperately need. I'm going to focus on things that make me excited and happy to create while doing it on my own timetable. No forcing myself to do something every so often or about a certain topic or forcing myself to make a topic out of something I don't really feel excited about. It'll be something that I feel strongly about. And I hope I can pass along those feelings of joy and excitement that I feel about certain things like games and anime to you through my own videos. I want them to be genuine and honest connections about things we all love or learn to love because of this. Well, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. I wanted to thank you for listening if you made it this far. It's kind of a weird topic and it's really personal, but it was actually really nice to kind of go through this little journey and talk about it here in this video. I learned way more about myself than I ever have before and realized that I had the power to make the choices I wanted to instead of the ones I felt like was expected of me. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and take care.